I'm going to just start by telling you all a little bit about what the social action projects are from our Friends Forever side. I won't be doing that for too long. I know what we're really here for is to hear from the folks that completed them, but just to give us a little bit of background. So Friends Forever International's mission is to help youth become the best versions of themselves so that they can help their community become the best version of itself. And going through these projects are really where we get to take that mission and make it actionable. And these two and the rest of the folks that have made it to this point are really a testament to that in making that small scale community change with the resources that they have at their disposal right now. So the FFI immersion program, these programs are usually between 10 and 16 days in person, but before their in-person component, they go through a team building phase where they develop their team identity, they bond as a team, and they come up with the goals and the foundation for success during the in-person component of their program. And then after that in-person part, they go through what you're just seeing the final component of right now, which is their community building phase, where they develop, plan, and implement a community-based project addressing a need that they recognize in the community that they're in. And just to give you a little overview, this has been, this time, it's our first time doing it quite in this way. As anyone who's been with Friends Forever for a while knows, we're constantly changing the mold of what we do and doing things that are making improvements that are more efficient and work for the groups we're working with. So the community building phase is about 12 weeks with some breaks in between for some in-person meetings and some areas of feedback. But for the most part, these folks have been walking themselves through that curriculum and communicating with us along the way. And when it comes to, like I had mentioned, of understanding a community need that they're going to address, we've started by comparing and contrasting the way we see that community issue with other folks, understanding who in our community is already addressing that issue, why that issue matters, and more specifically, why it matters to us. What is our why? And how does the perspective that we have impact the way that we view this issue? And then taking all of that information, everyone looks at, okay, what impact can I make with all of that information in mind? They first developed a brainstorm where they turned their project idea and develops a list of stakeholders and folks in their community that could help, some of the outcomes for their project and what success really looks like. They developed all of the objectives. We use the OCRA's method here of objectives, key results, and action steps. And they developed a budget and put those in order of what's going to be most essential for their project to be able to happen. And then from all of those objectives, key results, action steps, we've turned those action steps into a timeline and an actionable plan that they can follow through. And as you can see, that in itself and getting that to its most finalized state and submitting a project proposal is a lot of work. And along the way, they've had different advisory reviews where they've met with staff, alumni, and got some feedback on their projects and learned about ways that they can further develop them. So there's been that sort of communicative Friends Forever piece throughout, but they've really done an enormous amount of work to reach the point that you're seeing today.
So hello everybody. Welcome to my social action project presentation. Thank you all for coming and taking the time to listen. So my project is called I Know I'm a Girl. It's a project addressing sexism in my community. So hello, my name is Emma Eaton. Like Alex said, I participated in 2 programs this past summer. Team Astra's a science credit bank program and Team Leviathan, a sailing credit bank program. I've been playing the clarinet for 5 years, since 5th grade, I think. I'm a huge dog lover. I have 2 dogs at home. And then I really love playing volleyball and skiing. Those are like my go-to sports. They're my favorite. So as I mentioned before, the problem in my community that I'm trying to address is sexism. Females and males are not treated equally. A new United Nations study shows that 90% of all people, and this is everyone, everywhere, all genders. They all have some sort of bias against women. In my small community personally, there are constantly being jokes made about women's rights by my male peers, and you can definitely see during sports games, which I often attend due to me running concession stands. There's definitely a bigger turnout for the boys' sports than the girls' sports in my community. So sexism is a much bigger issue than just my community. There is not a country that has achieved gender equality, according to United Nations Women. 42% of US women have experienced gender discrimination at work. And out of New Hampshire's 1,642 elected officials, only about 400 of them are women. And I know that me and my small town project might not make a huge difference in the scheme of the world, but if my target, one of my targets is the school and the youth at the school, and if the youths in my town have the skill of gender equality already engraved in them, as they grow and they spread to different places, different communities, then I'm hoping they can take this skill with them and refine it in the new places that they have landed. So some overall goals for the future in my community are women empowerment, equal recognition for genders, respect and understanding. So I really don't want the women in my community to continue to feel put down after a sexist comment is made around them or towards them. I want them to see the community as a place that everyone that upholds that females are the same as males. I want females and males to be seen the same eventually. And I want to do this through a way that harbors respect and understanding through all sides of this opinion, rather than just pointing a finger at people. So my plan has 3 phases-ish. That's how I'm looking at it. So there is the bulletin board, which I hope to have a space for in my school. It would go on the wall. It would be colorful and eye-catching. I'd use pretty fonts and pretty colors to really catch people's eye. And on the board, I'd put quotes and stories and statistics about sexism to just kind of raise awareness and also empower the women so they can see how people have overcame sexism on the board. I also want to have a school-wide assembly that would take place during school hours towards the end of the day. It would be addressing gender equality and sexism in my school. It would be based on facts, and it would be kind of just pointing out to the people in my school, my peers, that sexism is wrong and you should probably stop. And then the speaking event, I hope to hold for the more public places for the wider Milton community. And that one I would like to be more focused on the girls, my peers, experiences with sexism and gender equality, whether that be positive or negative, to just kind of see how the way they are viewed has impacted them and to raise awareness of that. So my speaking event rough draft mock schedules are as follows. So for the assembly at my school, I hope to have a fact-based presentation presented. I hope to have guest speakers from the New Hampshire Women's Foundation and other gender equality organizations come to speak. I hope to have advisories, which are they're kind of like homerooms, I think other schools call them. They're like small groups of students. So I hope to have the advisories regroup after the assembly and be able to talk about their own opinions and what they learned and how they hope to work on improving the environment. And then for the community-wide event, I want to once again have my peers share out about their experiences with sexism and gender equality, and also have guest speakers there from the Women's Foundation and other organizations. And then for the community-wide one, I want to invite the people from my community to come on stage, share their own opinions, ask questions to the people in my community about their experiences. And I think this will really help create a balance of understanding and really create a platform for them wanting to better themselves from seeing the impact it has. So a brief overview of my timeline. So this past month, January, I was really trying to talk to my stakeholders, find out who was interested in helping with my project, find out who was passionate about gender equality in my school. This next month, I hope to talk to administration about getting the bulletin board, about holding the speaking event, and about holding the assembly, if it's okay to take up an hour or two at the end of the day for an assembly. March, I hope to start putting up the bulletin board, start putting the decorations on it, start finding stories and quotes to put on it. Also get ready for the speaking events, talk to, call the speakers, the organizations that I mentioned before, see if they're willing to come and speak. April, I want to spread the word about the speaking event and assembly. I want to make posters, hang them in the town, post about it on social media, really get as many people to come to the public speaking event as possible, to really raise awareness of it. May is when I actually want to have the speaking event and assembly. In June, I want to start creating surveys that I would send out to the public so that I could gather information on who has seen any changes, if there's been any change at all, where the change has been, and if I still need to do more to make my community a more gender equal place. So my stakeholders, what they would do was update and check the bulletin boards, update the stories and quotes on it, so it's not just the same thing all year. Check the bulletin board for vandalism, because it's a school and some people might be a bit harsh at first. And then I want the stakeholders to speak about their own experiences during the event, like I talked about a little before. I also want to hopefully use FFI sorts of workshops to train the stakeholders to better mediate conversations on the topic, as it is a heavier, deeper topic. I want the people that are working on this project to be able to stick up for themselves, but also understand the people who might be criticizing them. And I want to help present, I want the stakeholders to help present the information during the speaking events. So these stakeholders would be anyone in the community who's interested in participating. That would be students from my school, sports teams and clubs, teachers, school administration, any adult and parent in the community who wants to help. And then I hope for all this to take place in my school's auditorium. I'm from Milton, New Hampshire, and so my school is called Newt Middle High School, and that is on 22 Elm Street, Milton, New Hampshire. So my budget is an estimated $500. I hope to attain this budget by GoFundMe fundraising, as well as some small bake sales, hopefully. So $150 of my budget would be set aside for speakers in case they require transportation fees, or if they require money for speaking. $200 would be put aside for a good quality bulletin board, which is like $120, as well as supplies to excuse me, sorry. As well as supplies to decorate it and make it look pretty, as I mentioned earlier. I'm sorry. And then $150 would be put aside for any janitorial fees. I'm so sorry. So $150 would be put away for any janitorial fees and decorations I may need to decorate the auditorium and make it look nice. And then to just kind of end the presentation, I have a quote from Rebecca West. Sorry, that quote is, "I myself have never been able to find out precisely what a feminist is. I only know that people call me a feminist when I express sentiments that differ me from a doormat." Thank you for listening. I'm sorry about the coughing fit. I have a bit of a cold right now. The QR code for my GoFundMe is down below on this slide. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask them now.